the slides as well. So if you guys want to, open a new tab or on your phone, you guys can, QR code it or type in glsr.live at /Becker SoCal, and you guys can follow along as well. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and move on to the next slide. So I will go ahead and start right here. All right, and I will leave that at the top, so in case you guys need the link. So if you guys ever have any questions, just feel free to just type in the chat or just raise your hand or just ask away, and I'll try to answer your question as soon as the slide's over. And I'll leave my contact information at the end too. So if you guys have any future questions, or if you guys want to set up a meeting with me, you guys can feel free to do so. All right, so the path of getting your CPA license. Oh, sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, so for those of you guys, most of you guys are, studying accounting and looking for, jobs, like especially right now, since it is an interview or like networking season right now. So most of you guys are probably looking to get your CPA license, which is why you are in this presentation. So why get your CPA license, right? So if you guys, the difference between you becoming a CPA and you not getting certified and just, being an accountant, just doing the same job, you guys might as well get paid more. Becoming a CPA, being certified, you do earn approximately 10 to 15% more than not having your license, basically. And in your whole career, they did a study. So in your whole career, if you guys don't have your CPA license, you're basically leaving like about $1 million behind. So if you guys are going to be doing, more, doing the same job, you might as well get certified and get paid more. And on top of that, having your CPA license, there's a greater demand for it, more employment opportunities. So you do get a move up in the firm a lot quicker. And on top of that, if you guys don't have your CPA license, at a lot of the firms, they won't let you become like managers or, anywhere higher than that as well. So on top of that, if you guys do have your CPA license, so say, in times like these where the economy isn't doing so well, they do prefer to hire CPAs or keep CPAs around more than if you guys don't have your license. And on top of that, there is career growth as well. So approximately 75% of the AICPA members were eligible to retire this year, actually. So a lot of them are eligible to retire. So by the time you guys graduate or the time that you guys do get your license, you guys can all become AICPA members and work for AICPA as well. All right, so steps of becoming a CPA, we broke it down to 5 different steps. So the first step is to meet the educational requirements. So this is your main focus right now, since you guys are all in school. You guys want to make sure that you all hit the educational requirements. So in the educational requirements, there's 2 different ones in the state of California. One is for you to get licensed, and the other is for you to sit for the CPA exam. For the CPA, for you to sit for the CPA exam, you do need your bachelor's degree and a total of 120 semester units. Within that 120 semester units, 24 of that has to be in accounting studies and 24 in business related subjects. And for you to be licensed, you need a total of 150 semester units. With the extra 30, it comes from an extra 20 in accounting studies and 10 in ethics studies. So I do want to show you that you guys can always look up at the California Board of Accountancy website. So this one's a little bit, I want to show you since make it a little bit bigger. So you just have to be very careful for the extra 30, because there's minimums and maximums, right? So you could have let me see here. Okay, so you have to have a minimum of 6 extra semester units of accounting subjects, but you could only have a maximum of 14 semester units in business related subjects and a maximum 9 semester units in these sections, right? So you have to be very careful on that. So how many of you guys have, like spoken with firms and gotten the question where they ask you, will you be CPA eligible by the time you guys graduate? Yeah, have you guys gotten that question? So if you guys do, it basically means that you have the total 150 units by the time you guys graduate, just because they don't want you to be working with them and then studying for your CPA exam, and on top of that, taking classes. So that way you can have fulfill all of those units. So they want you to get at least, you know, all the educational units out of the way before you start working with them. All right, so the only thing is that with these units, for any of these classes that you guys take, it can count, say if you took like, you know, auditing 101, you can count it for accounting subjects right here, or the business related subjects if it's like in excess to the 24 semester units. It also fulfills down here or on top of that right here. But the only thing is that you can't double dip. So if you took one class, it can only fulfill into one section. You can't have it, you know, hit all 4 sections. So you just have to make sure of that too. But not to worry, if you guys ever have any questions, like you guys are unsure, you guys can definitely send me an email and then we can talk our way through it. The only thing is that I'm not certified to tell you whether, you know, this class definitely fits into that category or not, or if, you know, if the CBA would take that that class. The only people that can basically tell you if, you know, certain class fits are accepted by the California Board of Accountancy, or if you have all of those semester units to sit or get licensed, is actually from the people from California Board of Accountancy. So no one else is really certified to tell you that, you know, whether you have all those units or not. If you have like specific classes that you're unsure of but can't get a hold of, like the California Board of Accountancy, I would suggest, you know, speaking with an advisor, see if they know as well too. All right. Any questions on the educational requirement? All right, so I will move on. All right, so for those of you guys, you know, if you guys are moving back to a different state or deciding to move to a different state, just be very careful, because different states have different requirements, such as, say, you know, Indiana and Michigan. They require, you know, most states require you to have all the 150 in order for you to sit. But say for California, they're a little bit more lenient on that. So you only need 120 in order to sit. And especially with, you know, some of the accounting coursework or the business hours, sometimes they require different amounts for you to sit and get licensed as well. And if you take a look at the bottom, say for California, you have to take the ethics exam after you pass all 4 parts, and on top of that, you have to have 1 year of working experience. And compared to other states that might require 2 years of working experience and no ethics exam, or they require both. So you have to be very careful on that part, but not to worry. You know, if you guys have started taking the CPA exam and you decide you want to move to a different state, or, you know, other opportunities that open up in a different state, you guys can always request to have your score transferred to a different state. You just have to talk to that state board or NASBA to see what the process is in moving your score over, or even if you're licensed to get licensed in that state, move your license over. But just, you know, make sure with that state as well. The only thing is, like, I think with like Texas, it might be a little bit difficult. I think they're a little bit stricter on getting licensed. So I would check up on that before you actually do it. All right, any questions on this? Let me know if I'm going too fast as well. All right, so step 2, you know, you apply to sit. So if you take a look at this map, those in the yellow states, we do have a Board of Accountancy. So when you apply to sit for the CPA exam or any questions you have, you go through that Board of Accountancy, such as in California, there's the California Board of Accountancy. And for all those blue states, they don't have a Board of Accountancy, so you have to go through NASBA. All right, so what year are you in school? You guys can feel free to answer that, and then we can get a little bit gauge of, you know, where everyone's at right now in school. So we got some juniors, senior. All right, no sophomore or freshman over here? All right, so moving on. So when you guys, if you're in your senior year, you're probably, working towards applying to sit. You're looking towards that date. So once you guys graduate, say if you graduate in June, May or June, you would apply to sit, right? So when you apply to sit, you basically send in your application, send in your payment, and then you send your transcript. So when you send your transcript, be sure to send in all the official transcript from the schools that you've taken classes out of. So if you were transferred from, let's say, PCC or a different school, you would have that university or that college send in the transcript as well. And when you send your transcript, make sure that the university or school sends in the official transcript, and make sure that they send it directly from the school over to the California Board of Accounting. You don't have them send it to you and you send it over, because the California Board of Accounting won't accept that, and you will have to do that all over again. And on top of that, there will be a lag and a delay. So you don't want anything to happen in the whole process of it. So send in the transcript, send in the payment, make sure you send the payment, and then send in your application. So from you sending your application to you receiving your notice of schedule, it takes about 9 months. All right. So I'm sorry, let me go back all the way over here because I skipped a part. Okay, so when you send in your application to you receiving your notice of schedule, it takes about 4 to 8 weeks. So within that 4 to 8 weeks, you want to basically start studying, create your study plan, and start studying for your CPA exam. Study for the very first part, and while you receive your notice schedule, maybe 4 weeks or 8 weeks later, you can actually start scheduling your exam and start taking that first part. So the way you want to study is you want to study, test, study, test, study, test. You don't want to study for all 4 parts and then test for all 4 parts at the same time. There's just too much information for you to cram in and then take the exam, so you want to do it part by part. So once you receive your notice schedule, even if you don't feel like you're ready to take the exam, make sure that you just schedule your exam with Prometric first and work towards that date. Just because if you were about to, say if you were to schedule your exam when you feel like you're almost ready, and you start looking for dates to sit, it might be maybe like a month or 2 months out before you can get an open seating. So you want to make sure that you get a seat first, and you could always reschedule. So if you were to reschedule, I would say reschedule maybe like at least 2 weeks in advance, because anytime after within that 2 weeks of the time frame before you're about to sit, or a week, they might charge you a fee for you to reschedule. So once you guys, pass all 4 parts of the exam that you're on step 5, take the exam, pass all 4 parts, and then you take the ethics exam. The ethics exam is actually done at home. So you do it at home on your own time. You don't have to go to a Prometric center to take that. And then after you pass that and the ethics exam, you basically work on your working experience. So some of you guys, if you guys are doing internship or part-time right now, or even full-time, you're basically working towards your working experience, as long as you're working under a licensed CPA. So when you guys are doing internship part-time right now, you guys can actually just have those hours signed off by licensed CPA. So remember how I mentioned that you need a 1 year of working experience? That comes out to be about 2,080 hours. So within that 2,080 hours, if you guys are looking to become to go into audit, 500 of those hours have to be in audit. All right. And then after you have all of those, you just apply for a licensure. Tell them, hey, I met all my educational requirements. I pass all 4 parts of the exam, and on top of that, I have all my working experience. So now you apply for your licensure. Any questions on this part? Alrighty. So back to this slide. So how notice how it says NTS, usually notice schedule, is 9 months. So each notice schedule is 9 months. So that means that you have 9 months to take any exam that you have purchased. So in each notice schedule, you can purchase 1 exam up to 4 exams, all 4 parts. But the thing is, if you purchase all 4 parts, you have to complete all 4 parts within that 9 months time frame. if you purchase all 4 parts and you don't finish all 4 parts within that 9 months time frame, and once that 9 months expire, then all your exam expires that you haven't gone to. So if you guys, think that you guys might want to play on the safe side, you guys can purchase 2 exams in the first notice of schedule. And once you pass that, finish all those 2 exams, you guys can always purchase more exams within in that notice of schedule. But please keep in mind, if your notice schedule, if it comes up on like say 8 months, you might as well pay $50 and purchase a new notice schedule. Because if you purchase a new exam within that same notice schedule and you only have 1 month left, then that you're basically giving yourself 1 month time frame to finish that last exam that you purchased. So if it does expire, each exam costs about $225. So you'll be losing out on $225. So maybe 2 exams for each notice schedule would be the ideal part. So upon sitting for the first section, you have 18 months to complete the remaining 3 sections. So the 18 months time frame starts on the day that you took your exam and you pass your exam. So even if you find out that you pass your exam maybe like 20 days later, that start date of the 18 months starts when you sat and took that exam, even though you didn't find out that you passed until that score release date. Not to worry, if you guys didn't pass all 4 parts within that 18 months, it doesn't mean that, you have to retake all 4 parts of them. It's just that the very first one drops off and you have to retake them. So the way to think about it is that all 4 parts are valid for 18 months, and you have to have them all valid at the same time. All right, so this is a sample study plan. So this is study sample plan for the whole year. So this is not a very this is a very ideal study plan, because this is basically studying for all 4 parts and taking all 4 parts within that 1 year time frame, and it also gives you that extra 6 months time frame to retake any courses or retake any exams that you had missed. So for financial, notice how it says that studying date is from like say January all the way to the beginning of April. So it gives you about a 3-month time frame for you to study for. I know that most of the classes, so say done online or like those live classes, it's usually far as crammed into maybe like a month and a half, but this one gives you 3 months time frame. So this one's more ideal for you guys, especially if you guys don't want to be, rushing to pass the exam all within like say 6 months or 3 months time frame. So however you want to create your study plan is totally up to you guys, but please keep in mind that if you guys are in tax or audit, there's busy season, so you might want to keep that into consideration. So if you guys are in tax, maybe you would block off like February, March, or April that you don't study those days, and then you start studying in May. So you want to create your study plan however your lifestyle is and how work is as well. So notice how it says is study and test and study and test. So you want to work on it that way as well. So these are the sample, so before, I'm sure you guys have heard of testing windows. So started on July of 2020. So 3 months ago, they actually got rid of the testing windows and then the blocked months that you guys weren't able to take the test in. So this is actually perfect because it provides you guys more opportunities for you guys to test in. So you guys can test in, all 365 days in the year, as long as the Prometric Center is open. And before there were quarter windows, testing windows, where you would not be able to retake the same exam within that testing window. But right now, as soon as you find out your grade and you want to retake it, you guys can do so anytime you want. You guys don't have to wait until the next quarter window. So this is where you go to schedule your exam. So you go on Prometric.com. So when you guys get your notice scheduled, they give you a code for you to go on Prometric.com to create your account, register, and then start scheduling your exam. So you can schedule your exam, locate a testing center near you. There's hundreds of testing centers in the US. So even if you were to go on vacation or stay in a different state for like a month or 2 months in the summer, you guys can still take the exam even though though if you're staying for California, you could still take it in a different state. So it would, all of your exam, your scores and everything would go back to your account for California. So if you guys, were to take a vacation, you guys can, sit in like say New York or Texas or wherever, and you'll still be going back to your account that you guys registered for. So this is also where you would go to reschedule and cancel an exam as well too. So I don't recommend canceling though. So a little bit about the CPA exam overview. The passing score is a 75 on a 0 to 99 scale. The exam can be taken in any state or jurisdiction, as I mentioned earlier. And all 4 parts, you have to pass all 4 parts within the 18 months time frame. So there's 4 different exams: financial, audit, regulation, and BEC. They're all 4 hours long, totaling of 16 hours. Within the exam, there's 5 different testlets. 2 of them multiple choice question, 3 are task-based simulation. Notice how the last testlet, where it says WC. So in business and BEC, in the last testlet, they will provide you 3 questions on written communication. So you're basically writing a note or a email to a fellow colleague or to your client. They don't really touch you on whether your answer is like correct or not, but opposed to like your writing style, if it is a professional note or professional email, and how your grammar is. So that should be like a free like 5 to 15% of your grade for you guys, since you guys should be more than capable of doing that. So how you notice right here it says that off the clock break of 15 minutes. So between testlet number 3 and 4, they provide you a 15-minute off the clock break. So between that time, you guys can use the restroom, grab water, snacks, whatever you guys want. It doesn't mean that between testlet number 2 and 3, if you guys were to use the restroom, you guys gotta hold it. You guys can't use it. It's just that it just means that the clock is still running. And then right here between testlet number 3 and 4, the clock has stopped for 15 minutes, so you guys can take a break. So even though it is a 4-hour exam, you want to be very mindful of your time and be very mindful of your time management as well. So that's a big part of your exam. You want to make sure that you utilize all 4 hours for your exam correctly. Any questions on this part? All right. So this is what it looks like when you guys are studying with Becker, and on top of that, when you guys are actually taking the CPA exam. So notice how it says this auditing mock exam, and this one's a 4-hour time frame. So we provide you 3 full-length mock exams for each part. So you guys can sit in a very exam-like environment and then take the exam for 4 hours and see how well you guys do. If you guys get like a 70 to 75, you guys are pretty much good to go and take the exam. There are different testlets. So notice how this question, multiple choice question, has 1 to 36. And if you guys don't know the answer or it's hard, you guys are unsure, just flag it and then skip it, move on to the next question, and then just go back and fill it in as soon as when you're done with everything else. So the way you want to do it is that you want to work on the easier questions first and save the harder for the end. Because, so how many of you guys have heard of like say test questions? If you guys have heard test questions, it is true. So they put in a couple of test questions on each testlet and each exam. It's not to trick you or anything like that, but it's just to see, if they want to add it on to the future exams. So if you come across, certain questions that you have never seen before, they're super hard, just flag it, skip it, do the ones that you do know first, and then go back and then choose, the best answer. Because you don't want to waste your time on questions that might be test questions when you can do the ones that you do know first. And be very careful because when you submit the testlet, for this part, say you submit the testlet and then you move on to testlet number 2 and you realize you forgot to answer something or you want to change the answer for a test somewhere in testlet number 1, unfortunately you won't be able to go back. So make sure you answer every single question before you submit the testlet. And right here, they provide you a calculator and Microsoft Excel as a tool. when COVID wasn't happening, if you were to take the exam, you could actually request for a physical calculator, but right now they're not providing any physical calculators for you. So anytime if you take it afterwards, they should be able to provide you a physical calculator if you guys need to. All right, so for the task-based simulations, you want to make sure that you familiarize yourself with the task-based simulation format, just because there's so much to it. There's the exhibits that you want to read it before you answer the question, and this calculator, Excel, and then authoritative literature. So this authoritative literature functionality, it basically provides you for you guys to do research on. So you can look up codifications, anything that you need. So you should practice being able to do your research on here as well. So that one would help you out as well. And then you submit the testlet, and you guys should be good to go after the test number 5, and that would end the exam. So because every time that you click submit the testlet, you move on to the next testlet, you won't be able to go back. So you want to strategize how much time you spend on each different testlet, right? So one of the tips that, you know, some of the faculty and some of the instructors were giving was that, you know, make sure that you focus on time management and say, you know, if you want to spend like say 45 minutes on each test on the first testlet, then they provide you like a blank sheet of paper or a whiteboard that you can, you know, take notes on, or, you know, use it as a scratch paper. So one of the things is that maybe you might want to write down your time management strategy on there. So say, you know, if it's since it's a 4-hour exam and you want to spend 45 minutes on the first testlet, so you should write down maybe like 3:15. That should be the end of the first testlet, and then you move on to there. So that way you hold yourself accountable for the time frame, and make sure that you're on track for it. All right, so a little bit about, you know, the exam structure. I won't go over this that much, but if you guys want to take a screenshot or save this this slide, you guys are more than welcome to do so. So for financial, the expected study time is about 130 to 150 hours with a foundation of intermediate and advanced accounting classes. So you know how when you're going to all those classes in your 4-year, you know, university programs, all those beginner, intermediate, advanced accounting courses, imagine all of those putting into one 4-hour exam. So that's why some people say is the hardest one, is because, and it requires the most time, is because all those classes are put into one. And there's 66 multiple choice questions and 8 task-based simulations in there. So in this each multiple choice questions, you don't want to spend any more than 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes on each multiple choice question. And for the task-based simulation, you don't want to spend any more than 15 to 20 minutes on each task-based simulation. All right, so moving on to audit, the expected study time is about 80 hours to 100 hours with a foundation of auditing and advanced auditing classes. There's 72 multiple choice questions in there and 8 task-based simulations. And then they provide you, they test you on evaluation on here. And you only see evaluation being tested on audit. You won't see it in any other exam. So for regulation, the expected study time is about 100 to 120 hours with a foundation on federal tax and business law. So there is 76 multiple choice question, 8 task-based simulation, and all the time frame is about the same. And then this one, they test you on business law, so there's a tax for those of you guys who didn't know. And then for business, BEC, last but not least, expected study time is about 80 to 100 hours with a foundation of cost and management accounting, econ, and information systems, 62 multiple choice question, 4 task-based simulation, and then the very last testlet has 3 written communication. So that one you want to spend no more than 20-25 minutes on each written communication task. All right, so when do you guys plan on studying for the CPA and start taking the CPA exam? Feel free to answer that. So a little bit of study tips on the exam day. You make sure that you have the driving directions to the parametric testing site. So since there's hundreds of them in the US, you want to choose one that's the most convenient to you, most closest to you. You want to do a test drive before you go to the parametric testing center. So see how traffic's like. You can actually do a test run at the parametric center as well too. So you can schedule an appointment and do a test run to see, what documents are needed on that day of, what it's like to run the whole process before you take the exam. So nothing catches you off guard. So plan to arrive at least 30 minutes prior to your appointment. If you guys can, arrive like 45 minutes or an hour earlier. You could just, look through your notes, just relax. The last thing you want to do is be stuck in traffic and, being all flustered and then having to sit there for a 4-hour exam. So plan to arrive earlier. Just make sure that you're in the right mindset. And obviously, since you're going to be there for 4 hours, you want to dress comfortably. So time management is a big part of the exam. So you want to make sure that you practice. Practice will improve your speed. And then, like I said earlier, you want to write down your time management plan on your whiteboard or the paper that they're providing you before you start your exam, so you keep yourself on track of the time. Answer the questions that are the easy first. Then you go back to work on the harder questions. Any questions on the time management?
Yeah, I had a question with the multiple choice.
Yeah.
Are they all worth the same, or are they different? Like, since there's some are harder, are they worth different points?
So I believe all of the questions are kind of like, they're weighted basically. So there are easier questions that are worth less and there's harder questions that are worth more. So have you guys heard of how if you do well on the very first testlet, then it gets harder and harder, but if you don't do as well on the first testlet, it gets easier and easier? Have you guys heard about that?
No.
So in each exam, so if you do well on the first exam, your exam gets harder and harder. Each testlet gets harder and harder. But if you don't do that well, then the next testlet, they'll give you easier questions. But that doesn't mean that you should fail the first testlet so you guys can get easier questions because they're not weighted the same, right? So if you guys do well, then you get harder questions, but they are worth more, right? So that way you are. You know that you're doing well. If you do, probably feel like you're getting harder questions, but they are weighted differently.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Okay, so some tips on multiple choice question. Practice, practice, practice. Determine the call of the question. So read all 4 choices before answering choosing your answer. So this is something that I personally have, a hard time with. I get very impatient and I don't really, read through the question thoroughly or even all of the choices. And on top of that, sometimes for me, I'm like, oh, this answer, sounds good. And I was like, wait, and I start reading. I'm like, no, this one sounds better. You kind of go down that rabbit hole. So make sure that you practice your multiple choice question, and then take your time in reading your question and reading your choices before you answer them. So you want to control the time amount that you spend on each question as well, like I mentioned. So allow, a minute and a half to 2 minutes per question. So don't go any more than that, and answer every multiple choice question. This exam is not the type of exam where how the SATs probably used to be, where if you answer wrong, then it dings you like half a point and you just don't get the score for it. So make sure you answer every multiple choice question. Even if you get it wrong, then you just won't get the points for it. So like I said, make sure you answer every single questions, and then we provide you unlimited practice exams. So make sure you practice on all the multiple choice questions that you have a tougher time with. We partner up with AI companies that is in the program where it targets your weakness. So if you do well on each section, then we won't give you questions of that again. So we measure your proficiency level. So if you have trouble with a certain like module or question or topic, topic, make sure you practice on those questions. So we don't provide you like, questions that you guys are expert at. So we don't waste your time on that. So for task-based simulations, be very familiar with the format and the functionality, like I mentioned earlier, with, reading through all the exhibits and then doing research, familiarize yourself with that as well. Follow the recommended progression through simulations. So review each task's instructions, allocate your time among the tasks, be sure you have answered all the requirements for each task, and especially control the amount of time you spend on each task-based simulations. So with the Becker material, for each task-based simulation questions that we have a skill master video library. So you know how when we all don't know how to do a certain thing, we just go on YouTube and we kind of Google like, oh, how to do, certain things. So we have that, especially for the task-based simulation. So whether you want to check if the way you did it was correct, or if you don't know how to do it, you want someone to run you through that problem, our Skill Master video library will have all of those videos to run you through the problem. All right, so final tip, set aside 1 to 2 weeks to review before your scheduled exam date. Take a simulated mock exams in a strict exam-like condition, see how well you do. Some people said that the Becker mock exams and the material were harder than the CPA exam. So if you do get like, 70, 75, you guys are pretty much good to go. It's not that, we give you harder questions to make your life miserable or anything like that. It's just that we want to make sure that when you guys go in to take the exam, it makes it, a lot easier when you're actually taking the exam than, actually doing our material. So you guys was totally own it when you guys go in to take it. And review only what you have studied. So don't go through that rabbit hole of, seeing what you haven't studied like the week before, a couple of days before, and then, fall through that in that rabbit hole and then of like, digging up stuff that you haven't learned. So don't do that. Just review what you have studied, and then create, on top of that, create a realistic study plan before you guys start studying. I think the big part of the big takeaway of CPA exam is making sure that you guys hold yourself accountable in studying. Create a study plan and definitely stick to it. I know it is especially I was talking to students before, and one of the thing about learning through virtually like classes right now, the hard part is holding like making sure that you're doing the stuff doing the stuff on time, making sure that you have deadlines and all that too. But with the CPA exam, like you don't really have deadline. You're setting these goals and plans to yourself, so you want to make sure that you stick to it, right? And you want to make sure that you put in all your time and effort into studying it as well. I know that sometimes it interferes with like personal life, or the last thing you want to do when you go home on a tiring long work day is to crack open the books and start studying. So the best part is that if you guys start graduating and you guys don't start work until a couple months down the road, or even in maybe a year down the road, make sure you get as much testing out of the way as possible. If you can pass all 4 before you start working, then that's the best feeling ever, right? So when you go to work, you just go to work. You don't have to think about coming home and studying on the weekends. I know that some students like to just hang out on the weekends and whatnot, and this interferes with like personal life. I mean, it's totally worth it if you cut out like you don't go out as much, and you make sure that you study on the weekends for several months, and you pass this. Then afterwards you guys can do whatever you guys want. You guys don't have to focus on passing the CPA exam, because I have a lot of friends that study for the CPA exam, and they had a hard time working and studying as well. So they ended up passing some exams and then failing, and then little do like 18 months down the road, it passes, and then they ended up not doing their CPA anymore. And I definitely don't want that to happen to you guys. I want you guys to make sure that once you guys graduate, take the exam, pass all 4 parts, and you guys don't have to worry about that anymore. Any questions on this part, or any question that you guys might have come up with? All right, so want to get a gauge of when are you guys graduating? This fall, I saw. Okay, so spring 2021, December. All right, so you guys are mainly, you guys are mostly graduating, within, this year or next year. So there's going to be some changes in 2024. So the AICPA is proposing of removing, two items from the CPA exam. This is going to be a pretty big change. So they're thinking of removing the BEC reading communication questions just because, the grading is automatically scored and it only tests on your basic writing skills, right? So it can't assess the technical accuracy of the candidate responses. So, and then on top of that, for FAR testing of state and local government accounting, which is 5 to 15% of the grade. So it doesn't really specialize knowledge on, what mostly the CPA, requires and on the job. So the changes are that they want to remove those. So they will be testing you on the three parts. So they're going to test you on account, audit, tax, and tech. So they're adding tech to it. So I believe that they are testing you on the tech, tax compliance and planning, business reporting and analysts, information systems and control. So I believe they test you on like three different things, and then you guys can choose the last topic. But there's not much information that is out on there that they told us. But if you guys ever want more information regarding any changes of the CPA, it is at the site down below at www.evolutionofcpa.org. Any new information that they have regarding the changes, it will be on that site right there. So with Becker, we're the leaders in CPA prep for over 60 years. We are number one. We have over 1 million candidates that have prepared and passed with Becker, and we partner with all the top 100 accounting firms. So a lot of times if you do get, firm offers with most of the firms do pay for you to use Becker. Most of the firms do pay for you to take the CPA exam, pay for your exams, your application fee, and then for your Becker review course. But most of them are exclusive with us. But if in case if you get you get hired with a firm and you're not too sure if they pay for your Becker review course, you guys can email me and then see what I'll see what I can do to help you out on that part. Sometimes they will reimburse you, or even they have some sort of discount with us and partnership with us, since we are partnered up with over 2,900 accounting firms, universities such as yourself, and with organizations such as that as well. 90% of the Watsels Award winners have prepared and studied with Becker. So do you guys know what the Watsels Award is? So remember how I said in order to pass CPA exam, you need a score of 75 or higher. So in order to get the Watsels Award, you actually have to pass all 4 parts within that 18-month time frame and have the average score of a 95.5 or higher. And this is something that we're super proud of, because 90% of the Watsels Award winners use Becker. And a lot of students ask us what our pass rate is, but in order to get what our pass rate are, we have to send out a survey to all the students, have a third party send out surveys to our students, and then to ask them if they passed or didn't pass. And on top of that, it's kind of it's not accurate just because not everyone answers those survey. So with the Watsels Award, it is, when you do get it, your name is publicly announced. So we have a whole list of them. So we go down the list and see who are Becker students, and we contact them. We throw a party for them, and then on top of that, they get a plaque from us as well. So it's something that you guys can brag about once you guys get the Watsels Award. So it's something that's truly amazing. All right, so we have different packages. So we have, the smallest package is the 24-month access. So everyone actually does get flashcards in all of the packages. So it's just whether, you want the 24-month access, unlimited or unlimited access. But I wouldn't worry too much about these packages. See, if your work does pay for them, they have specific packages with us. If not, then, if you guys have any questions regarding packages or, purchasing, definitely let me know and I can run you through it as well too. So we have different learning styles. We have self-study, live, in class, in person, and then we have the live online, which is basically like, what you guys are doing in class right now, learning from a live instructors. And if you guys have any questions, you guys can type in the chat and we have instructors to answer your question. So a lot of students like the live online just because it holds them accountable of going to class and actually learning on that day. So it's held like a specific time and date. So like I said, we partner up with AI companies, Santa Labs. So they partner up with Spotify. So you know how Spotify keeps track of like what songs you like and it gives you recommendation. We partner up with them to do basically see how well you do on your proficiency level. So you could get a max of 3 full stars. So it tracks how well you do. And then if you guys don't get like, the 3rd star, you guys can always go back and then do more questions on those to improve your proficiency level on there. And then the Skill Master Video Library, which is kind of like like I said, the YouTube-like videos where they'll run you through the problems and then, teach you how to find the answer the quickest way possible and basically what the question is asking for. And then the simulate exam, which is the mock exam. So we give you 3 full-length mock exams per section, and 2 of them are weighted, and 1 of them is a comprehensive review. So you can identify the areas of opportunities after taking the exam. All right, so we have a final review, which is kind of like Cliff Notes, condensed version with new lectures, multiple choice question, and task-based simulations that you haven't done before. Flashcards, everyone gets digital flashcards with each package. And then we also offer supplemental multiple choice questions if 7,000 isn't enough for you guys. So you guys want to try us out, it's a 2-week course demo, and you guys can try us out at becker.com/CPA demo. And if you guys have any questions, this is my contact information. If you guys want to jot it down, you guys can send me an email, or you guys can create a meeting with me. So just through this link, it's connected to my updated calendar. So you guys can just request for a book a meeting with me on that calendar. If you guys, wanted to enroll, you guys can contact Stacy, and she's our product specialist that can help you enroll. Even if you have firms that pays for your Becker review course, she can still help you enroll and run you through the whole process as well. Does anyone have any questions? Alrighty then. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you guys ever have any questions.
All right. Well, thank you, Amy, for coming today, and we'll look forward to having you in our next semester events. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me or Amy. I'll be more than happy to direct it to her if I don't know the answer. But with that being said, thank you everybody for coming, and it was great seeing you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.